This week, a Senate Judiciary Subcommittee held a hearing about public access to the Supreme Court. In conjunction with the hearing, I introduced a bill requiring the Supreme Court to broadcast and televise court proceedings. This new bill goes with legislation I've sponsored for more than 10 years to grant federal judges the authority to allow cameras in other federal courtrooms. That sunshine legislation has been passed many times by the Senate Judiciary Committee and is passed with bipartisan support. The Judiciary Committee also has supported broadcast coverage of the Supreme Court. The bill I introduced this week was previously sponsored by former Senator Arlen Specter of Pennsylvania. Just last year, the Supreme Court started releasing audio recordings of its proceedings at the end of every week, a step in the right direction. In 1947, the Supreme Court said that what transpires in the courtroom is public property. So it shouldn't be limited to the 200 people who can fit inside the Supreme Court chamber. In Iowa, we've had broadcast coverage of the courts for more than 30 years. In fact, the Chief Justice of the Iowa Supreme Court testified at this Judiciary Committee hearing that we had this week about the success and value of this access. He said that, quote, "Cameras expose the courts to what they are, a proud institution of justice," end of quote. In fact, for the Iowa Supreme Court, expanded media coverage includes not only traditional broadcast, but also live and archived streams of all oral arguments. I will work for passage of both pieces of legislation and complete access to the Supreme Court and the federal courts based on what President Abraham Lincoln said, that our government is of, by, and for the people. Today, the best way to make sure government is accountable to the people is to establish access and transparency.